afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from the host, Imperial Dane, featuring today a 1 vs 1 on Beaux lowlands. This is going to be a slightly different match. I do believe we're looking somewhere around the middle of the skill range, though of course I might be slightly misjudging things, but I mean, don't expect something great, but don't expect something terrible either. Though there will be some interesting bits, something we don't usually see. We shall be watching here Swiffy fighting for the Americans, for the, I don't know, 20th Infantry Division going up against Platoonleader of the 25th Panzer Grenadier Division. And we are seeing a 2 engineer, 2 pioneer start from both players. We're seeing Swiffy actually starting out with a jeep, hoping for some early disruption and harassment of German moves, possibly also some reconnaissance to figure out what the bloody hell the damn German fellow is up to. We also note here we are getting this point ignored. He's going for a slightly more aggressive move towards the west. He just wants the connecting munitions, not the safe munitions, which will also provide him with a bit more initially. And then go towards there, going to likely secure that usual route. And there we go, the Jeep is ready. Also note here, very aggressive move, which is likely going to get a unit to then connect here, while it's going for the high munitions. So again, another bold, aggressive move. Then there we go, the first unit out for Platoon Leader is a Volks Grenadier squad. Jeep on the move, Swiffy on the prowl for crowds. And there we go, the pioneers are pounced upon. 30 caliber light machine gun firing away there. The pioneers suffering a bit lightly to it, but they also managed to do a bit of damage. Some bullets plinking off, others actually managing to penetrate the soft steel chassis. And there we go, rather aggressive, going for that victory point right there. Platoon Leader advances in the name of the fatherland as he sees his west flank already crumble beneath the weight of the jeep. And there you go, Rifleman squad up ready. Note here that due to the fact he hasn't connected this, he's not getting any munitions right away. So of course the question is, well, he might as well just take this and then move the engineers down there. Since it does seem a bit odd like this, as he's ultimately wasting more time. He's not even using the rifleman. It might have been a misclick though. That's definitely not going to work out to Swiffy's benefit right there. Second squad of Volks is out there for Platoon Leader. Points being secured there. Jeep being slightly pushed away as German infantry marches across, staying to the side of the road, the trees for cover, and soon the wall. Keep keeping an eye on things as riflemen move up to support. And there we go, actually see this point instead connecting everything for the Swiffy one. Volkswagen is moving up. Engagement going on there. Rifleman quickly getting the jump on things, but now more Volkswagen are pushing in. There's no real support. Jeep doing what he can, but it simply is not enough. The riflemen are getting shredded, murdered, massacre. We might even see it. Yes, a squad went down right there for Swiffy within the first few minutes. That is definitely not a good omen for the rest of the fight. The unfortunate unit preservation considering all the amount of Volkswagen that were firing down on it. But we do see the Jeep and some engineers pushing in. Platoon Leader here needs to get the Scottish away. Rifleman pushing up. And there we go, one squad retreating, one left behind. We're seeing an MG42 moving up to support this squad. Also needs to get out of there. Rückzug, Rückzug. And looks like he managed to get out of the MG42 instead. Sets up, opens up on the rifleman behind the heavy cover. They will be large protected for the time being. In the meanwhile, advances continue and will light work there by pioneers and engineers there. And also some pioneers now making progress in the west as well. Now and again here, a bit of a tenuous grasp as he moves towards this fuel and the victory point there. MG continues to hold up, but also note here the flank is much exposed. Also note here, there's a definite problem with Platoon Leader's engagement here. The rifleman in heavy cover, his machine gun is in light cover. In fact, it will suffer quite gravely there. That is a bit of a poor position there. The MG42, as the rifleman can actually then do more damage to the MG. And there we go, Jeep intercepts, might even cut down the MG on the retreat. That would definitely be a kick to the groin for Platoon Leader. And there we go, MG42 lost, dispatched with haste before it managed to get back home safely. A definite tactical misreading right there from Platoon Leader. Again, careful with the units in light cover versus heavy cover, particularly the MG42. It actually does not do so well there. But Volkswagen is pushing up, and again, it's not going to be a good engagement. We do see Blitzkrieg Doctrine, we do see assault, and we do see Swiffy completely losing it, retreating with all haste. And of course, there's going to be the tenuous connection right there. If he cuts that there, Swiffy will have lost all access to the resources there. But now looks like Platoonleader is moving towards this neutral point, which is currently not connecting anything. Oh no, Platoonleader, that serves no purpose. You're doing nothing. Oh dear, another tactical misreading from Platoonleader. We do see the Americans charging forwards, but again, why didn't he just cut this off? Would have done more damage to Swiffy ultimately rather than taking the one which is so far doing nothing. Flamethrowers popping up. Will Platoonleader's Fultz Grenadiers be able to cut them down? Looks like the engineer squad does indeed go down. Riflemen moving up close to the troops in heavy cover, but they do take a heavy toll, and there we go. Blitzkrieg assault going in on the Riflemen, threatening to do a lot there. Stunning, wounding. Pioneer squad went down to the Jeep. Platoonleader is overextending himself. One squad retreating, the other one remaining, but might want to consider getting out of there very swiftly. Before Swiffy swifficates him. And there go the Fultz need to get out of the Riflemen, taking a brutal beating. Fultz squad could go down. Another Fultz squad is up. And Heinz, just as he barely is out of range of fire, gets shot in the back with one very lucky shot. His life is ended, snuffed out. No more. And at the same time, we do see Browning automatics popping up for Swiffy. Very aggressive play here from an American player versus the aggressive Fultz Grenadier play from Platoonleader. But again, some tactical and strategic misjudgment so far has rather bereft him already of an MG42 and a Fultz Grenadier score, which is not really good omen either, just like Swiffy losing his Rifleman squad either. I mean, again, we're not seeing complete, shambling ideas. There's some coherent ideas. There's clearly some ideas, plans, how things should be done, but the execution of them is a bit more lacking, which is why, again, I would judge this as about mediocre play. Right here, Fultz versus Rifleman, and there we go. Nice use of the suppressor fire on the Rifleman, quickly winning the engagement against the Fultz just as they pop MP40s. Really nicely done there. A good, rare usage of the suppressor fire to quickly win an engagement, but not in the usual way. So, nicely done there by Swiffy. We immediately, while Platoon is in fact immediately going on for the Kriegberg, so very light tier 1, 3 Fultz, 1 MG. Of course, without one Fultz, without 1 MG, he has rather in that sense again crippled himself, and again given Swiffy free range to swift across the map. Center victory point falling, and at the same time he's losing the right-hand resources. Left-hand resources also being lost to the American, and again he hasn't managed to cripple Swiffy's resources himself. So Platoonleader rather needs to pull himself by the scruff of his own neck and get back into the fight in the name of the Vaterland. More on the way though from the Krieg barracks, like going to be some grenadiers to quickly turn the tide with better trained troops. Jeep getting repaired. The Jeep already having 5 kills, a testament to Swiffy certainly knowing how to use the Jeep. And he would definitely be on the higher, mediocre, medium scale. I'm not sure mediocre, in fact, might be a wrong word to use here. Again, might be a bit indicating that, they still suck. But they don't. There's just, the slight problems in, before getting to, being really good. I mean, that's rather another important thing when you actually just discuss things. That's just how you actually choose the words, because different words can then actually change your perception of whatever you're discussing. So that's actually also important, and also again why I prefer, for example, calling newer players for novices rather than the more lowbrow noob, which also tends to be again a more reflectory word. And again, it's just not a very helpful word at all. The points there being secured. Jeep hoping to do some nasty work here. Going down the MG42 bunker. Grenadiers are going to engage his rifleman. Will the Grenadiers be able to overcome Swiffy's rifleman? Will there be a steel granate delivered into the heart of the force? And we see a full retreat from Swiffy. Swiffy losing it completely in the face of stalwart Deutsches infantry. Rifleman going to sneak in there. We do see the Fultz force quickly moving up, but the pioneers here might go down. And another Grenadier squad already indicating that Platoonleader is getting a considerable infantry force. We're seeing supply yards, medic stations going out now for Swiffy to help him with some of his losses. And with supply yard, and we also see infantry doctrine. We're seeing Rangers being prepared. We might be seeing actually a rather aggressively escalating infantry fight going on here in the lowlands between the 25th and the 20th. Divisions, that is, not dates. And there we go, the Pioneers trying to play the game with the rifle, but the rifle just simply pop into the bar and open up. But the Pioneers might be able to escape from this rifle, and then had to get out against the Pioneers retreated. But there we go, the Fultz Grenadiers are there. Will they be able to save their lowly pioneer brethren? Charging across open ground, need to be careful. Fultz Grenadiers in the rear should actually just stop up and provide long-range fire support while the MP40 Fultz Grenadiers close in, but apparently decides not to. Riflemen swiftly get the devil out of there. Right hand side might have collapsed for now, but there might also be a counter-attack going in swiftly from Swiffy. Grenadiers now in full force on the west, and there we go. First Ranger squad out, already aggressively cringing them with Thompsons and getting into first supply to upgrade. And there we go, nice assault force going in there for Swift. In fact, seems to form up several assault teams out of his forces. For the time being, definitely not a bad tactic. And let's go look at the platoon leader, watching as his platoons crumbles now with 3 Grenadiers. Definitely some intense indications here of Grenadier spam, and he's actually pulling back over here. That could cut them off the retreat, so platoon leader actually needs to pull off something clever, or he might actually lose a Grenadier squad, if not more. And we see Blitzkrieg assault going in right here. It looks like Friedhelm throws like a girl. So does Wilhelm. Instead hitting a nearby tree, but there we go. Some actually managed to launch down into the area below, forcing away the American force as a 3rd Grenadier squad pushes in. Fultz here holding up. They might want to consider some barbed wire to make it difficult to cross this area, giving optimal time for the Fultz to shoot down some Yankees in the open. And another Pioneer squad moving up here and being met with intense and murderous fire from Rangers and a Jeep. A bazooka launched away, and the MP4 is actually sneaking in there. I'm not entirely sure what platoon leader is achieving there. That was actually a pretty daft move from platoon leader. Served no real purpose. And we do see the Grenadiers make a move towards him. He might want to cut off these 2 areas now. But what is he planning? Hard to say. We see Kriegbass going up. We see infantry on the way. That is definitely good news for the German troops. There we go, munitions being secured, Grenadiers nearby. They might want to actually lay down some sandbags to help protect against any immediate American counterattacks. I mean, he did it there, so why he isn't doing it here seems a bit odd. Could also do with some sandbags here, but now Rifle moving in. Rangers going to perhaps move in from another flank. We do see Veteran 2. Grenadiers here going to meet up the engagement again without heavy cover. Pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. Possibly going to try and secure some cover as the Americans move in then from the open versus Veteran 2 Grenadiers in light cover. That's definitely going to be the Grenadiers having a slight advantage there in terms of the cover. Fultz Grenadier squad down. Another unit wasted there for platoon leader, who's probably too occupied over here. And there we go. Looks like another Blitzkrieg assault going in. Suppressive fire actually being used there by Swiffy on the defenders. Nice work there, going to try and see if he can't get them pinned even. And now looks like he's really pulling in with a large assault with the big grenades lodged down their throats. And there we go, another Blitzkrieg assault straight on the riflemen. Doing an awful lot of damage, stunning them. The engineers are taking losses, but so are the Grenadiers. Right hand side seems to be falling into complete disarray, and looks like the west assault here from platoon leader has been sent off as well. Considerable losses inflicted. Sends are being rolled up though, and he's getting another Grenadier squad. So definitely looking like Grenadier spam with a lot of veterancy being involved here. Can work, but again it also has its counters. Also likely means we're dealing with a more Soviet-style commander that is relying more on brute infantry force rather than overall clever tactics. And overall, I mean, he's just making, jabs here and there. It's very aggressive play, but it's not very coordinated, it's not very cohesive play. It's not building towards a grander strategy. He's not saying, I want to hold specifically these 2 points or these 2 points. He's, I'm just going to do whatever I can. Attack here and there. There's no clear idea what's harassment, what's not. Which is, again, another sign. He's average. He's got some good ideas, but again, he needs to, gain a clear idea of what he actually wants to do. And there we go, Grenadiers versus Rangers. Rangers firing bazookas, Thompson submachine gun bullets. Grenadiers pushing forward in the name of the fatherland. And there we go, we do see Swiftly realizing this is not going to end well, and now see Swiftly retreats. Fultz Grenadiers here getting absolutely murdered. And again, the west once more collapsing. And again, that's really a major problem. Some could end up being a theme for Platoonleader, is he constantly takes territory, but then he absolutely fails in defending the territory. Which is also a bit the theme with Swiffy. So there's a bit of repetition there from the two players in that regards. And we do see the Grenadiers getting caught out in the open with the Riflemen. Impressive fire to stop the Grenadier force. Does not look like it. It now looks like the Grenadiers are ready to cut off the retreat. Swiffy lingered a bit too long. He could in fact lose an entire Rifleman squad veterancy too. Or will the Grenadiers be unable to finish it off? Down to so little health. Down to one man. And he... Oh... He had not quite fully cut off the retreat path. And Swiffy took advantage of that. That was bloody well close. But he could have done it. Again, had, you know, just slightly more laid out, more of a cordon there. And we do now see veteran Swiffy on the way, going to give his infantry a lot more health, securing this area. But we also see smaller counterattacks going in from Swiffy, but no real coordination, just one unit at a time, which could prove to be to the advantage of Platoonleader, except he is spreading out his troops too far now, ensuring that, for example, this Grenadier squad has nothing covering it. Pioneers being rushed in. Grenadiers and false Grenadiers now here in the west. 5 Grenadier squads, by the way, again. Very Grenadier intensive strategy from the 25th Panzer Grenadier Division and Platoonleader. Zugführer. Holding up here behind the fence, and the shrubbery attached to the fence. The Riflemen do seem to be enjoying it, and the advantage that is. More Grenadiers are looking to be moving in, and they're actually this right here now. The Grenadiers finally get veterans free, but a bit too late for this squad to actually win the battle. At the same time, we see a larger force moving in from Swiffy. Lots of Riflemen and Grenadiers, Rangers, I mean, to support it. Lots of firepower. At the same time, Grenadiers and Falcons moving up here, getting suppressed. Nice suppressive army. Seeing another Ranger squad up from Swiffy. Swiffy just getting a lot of Rangers now. Rifleman squad here could go down the retreat. That would be a bit, yes, a loss for Swiffy. Finding continues. Obviously, the Grenadiers simply overpowered by Swiffy's forces, and a lot of veterans, 2 Riflemen now. And there we go, the Rangers instead lose up here in the west. The infantry battles continue in the Beaux lowlands. In the Beaux lowlands, the infantry fighting continues. Going there for the cut-off points, having to deny Swiffy some precious resources. Leading up the Grenadiers to the more hazardous points, while the foot Grenadiers hold up the rear point, also perhaps to cover any retreats. Using the heavy cover previously established. At the same time, Swiffy doing the same time again, very much aggressive, going for the vital cut-off points. And again, there's a slight problem when actually establishing any front lines, which is a bit the issue here for Platoonleader. Again, he's not fully confident in understanding the Wehrmacht. Of course, he's got some bases, but again, he's rather not quite fully realized. Again, you need to build up a front line, as the Germans, most importantly, whilst the Americans are about breaking that front line. We do see a retreat going in there. He could perhaps have gotten off a few grenades and perhaps, you know, done some more nasty and lasting damage. We're seeing 7 infantry squads out here for Platoonleader, operating them in what looks like to be 3 squad forces, which is about a platoon, in fact. A squad, in fact, a full proper German squad. Although that would have been slightly more ideal terms. Riflemen here getting absolutely pummeled. Lots of harassment. Riflemen are cheating in the face of this Grenadier push. And there we go, Stormtroopers and Stu 42. A bit of quiet. Again, he needs to connect his territory. And again, he needs to decide what he actually wants to hold as his primary territory. Otherwise, again, Swift is actually going to have the more advantages, since he can just, you know, again, just overwhelm more easily. Well, you know, Platoonleader's forces, so they'll be a lot more spread out, because again, there's no real clear defining strategy, no clear defining pattern that Platoonleader actually aspires to. There's just a set of forces he wants to have, and there's no real idea of how he wants to use them on the map. Which is definitely the problem. He's seemingly only thinking in build orders, not so much actual strategy. Not for that matter, not really tactical either. Again, that could prove to be his demise. Swiffy sort of following along the same rules, but the Americans in that sense do have a slightly better advantage. Again, they're more towards aggressive playing, again sneaking and causing disruption and chaos. Grenadiers moving in against a single Ranger squad. likely going to overwhelm, but again we do see Swiffy nice retreating in time. I mean, both players actually again exhibiting, for the most part, good retreat timing. Not wasting units needlessly, for that matter. But hold up here behind the Rex of a Jeep. Rangers taking one angle. Looks like, yes, a large assault force going from Swiffy towards the rear. A few grenades, though, could actually put a stop to it. A Blitzkrieg assault, for that matter, could. But looks like he all of a sudden seems to have forgotten how to use all those grenades. No, there we go. Killing a few troops, but overall gets overwhelmed again. And the Stu 42 now rolls out for Platoonleader. As the center falls to the 20th Infantry Division, Grenadiers are already there with a few Pioneers. Points being secured. He's keeping them at least a bit closer now. That is good, so they can support each other. I would still like to see some barbed wire around here. A few mines as well, and that's definitely something that is very much lacking in this fight. Mines. None of the players are even bothering with mines, even remotely. Grenadiers moving up. Larger infantry engagement. Another blitz assault, and again another retreat. Swiftly realizing what's coming and just decides to waste Platoonleader's munitions instead of wasting his own manpower. That is good. But looks like there's finally some sort of idea of a cohesive front being formed, at least a sort of territory he actually wants to hold here from Platoonleader. About damn time. Took him about 20 minutes to realize it. I do believe it's the mid-game analysis period time again. Platoonleader definitely has the larger infantry forces, definitely got the more veteran front, but he's having problems utilizing it. While it's certainly stronger in some senses, it's not quite the one with the most firepower. And that definitely falls upon Swiffy with all the BARs, all the Thompson submachine guns, the bazookas, and other fun party favors. In that sense, you know, Platoonleader might want to consider some LMGs for his Grenadiers. That could certainly be a fun thing. Otherwise, I think he should work towards Tier 3 or Tier 4, get either some Stuks or some Panzer IVs. And then he needs to push in a more broad front. He needs to leave something here to hold this area again. He needs to begin defending his territory, perhaps with a few bunkers. And otherwise, he needs to, you know, conduct some more coordinated assault, something a bit more directed, something a bit more with a bit more clarity. Also with, you know, mines going down. Definitely both sides need to mine stuff. Otherwise, medic bunkers, medic stations, all that for Swiffy. Largely, I mean, you know, keep up at it. Good, he's getting a motor pool. Otherwise, I would actually recommend a tank depot instead. Get some Shermans up, perhaps a few tank destroyers, and otherwise, you know, try to roll through Platoonleader, because Platoonleader would, at the current stage, be very vulnerable to a Sherman or two. Also, he needs to mine, lay down barbed wire, all that stuff. I mean, that's quite important as well, but you need to keep up that otherwise good job, you know, attacking several places at once, not just resorting to the sledgehammer method. And also, it's rather looking like Platoonleader, at least in this stage, is actually blobbing up a bit, and that's definitely something he needs to overcome. Otherwise, I mean, a good artillery strike or two could absolutely decimate Platoonleader's forces. Let's return to the fight, and again, to El Swiffidor. Grenadiers are coming out a bit of vicious fire from riflemen and rangers, being sprayed and hosed with bullets. Pulling back across the river, again a few sandbags could also help there. Will there be any reinforcements from up here on the ridge? Apparently not. And there we go, the Grenadiers are pushed off, opening up for minor move. Sorry about that, someone wanted to talk with my neighbour and thought I was him. But there we go, trying to attack from several angles, one of these leaving a small force to attach over there. Probably not so good, again, considering the forces that Platoonleader has there at the Victory Point Ridge, or Victory Ridge, as it should now henceforth be known, Victory Ridge. And we actually see a mine down from Swiffy, amazing, an actual mine. God in Himmel. And now again another force push going on there, but again there's no real defenses here, and there's no real reaction, no counter-attack. Again, he's basically just leaving things to be easily overwhelmed. It's not good. Bunker going up, a Widerstand Nester to hold this area.
We're losing a munitions point.
And a full push going on there. Again, the forces spread too much out. Again, met with overwhelming superiority in firearms from the Swiffy one. A Blitzkrieg assault might be able to turn out, but again, Swiffy's also note he actually sprinting out his troops, so it's can't be locked down. And there we go, finally a counterattack, but again, there's then nothing to guard this area. I mean, he keeps making that same mistake as attacking in raw, brutal force with very little tactical finesse. And again, constantly trading ground, but it's a losing trade-off he seems to be doing here. And there we go, we do see Swiffy realizing this is a not so good place to be. And again, we immediately see he's moving towards here, knowing that's probably mean this area is empty. We actually see him laying down mines, so that is good, but now Platoon Leader needs to quickly reroute troops. No, we actually see him attacking the Wehrmacht quarters, blowing it up with bazookas, boys. And likely will finish it off, although I mean, it won't really do much at this stage. It served its purpose. So a bit of an empty victory right there for Swiffy. Yeah, blew up the Wehrmacht quarters, except he's not using it anymore. Victory nonetheless. Mission accomplished, boys. We can go home now. The Germans are defeated. And getting some anti-tank guns up, that is good. He's apparently worried there'll be some sort of armoured rush into his base. Something. And again, I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't try to actually establish a defensive line here. It's really a good place to do, because again, the negative cover is going to require that Swiffy, if he wants to attack over here, is going to need a larger force. In particular, there's some good barbed wire placed out to make movement more difficult. That doesn't seem to happen. Instead, now we do see this 242 actually hitting a mine. We do see Swiffy advancing with great Swiffy vengeance and force in mind, and going to overwhelm that 242, because again, it's not got any infantry. It's a weird unit disposition that Platoon Leader has. It's not really helping him hold any ground. That's the worst part. But now it looks like he's actually shifting all of his forces towards this area. They're also hopefully here. Anti-tank and blasting away at the side of the Sturmhaubitze, threatening to knock it out. Mine going off, actually stopping Swiffy's advance a bit lightly there. Lots of infantry moving in, but it's also awfully clumped up. Grenadiers continue their advance, and there we go. We also see him flanking up here, pushing us up, because again, Platoon Leader can't seem to establish a coherent defense anywhere. It really seems to be his major issue. He knows how to attack, but he seems very rubbish at it when he actually comes to defend or holding territory. Stu 42 here getting blasted in the sides. Grenadiers going to stop up. Oh, got a rifle squad anyways, and there's a BAR to supplement his Grenadier squad now with the Leichtes MG 42 on the bipod. Actually proved to be a problem for the Rangers. Again, remember, stop up to fire the MG. And there we go. Sturmfire. In fact, this is known when the Grenadier stands up firing the MG. And in fact, they could do so. Though it certainly required a bit of a stout man to actually conduct it like that. And there we go. Actually see a Grenadier squad wiped out. Medic bankrupt, interestingly enough. And that's, well, yeah, he lost one Grenadier squad. He's got one here. And again, rather seems like he's now relying more and more on mass, which rather means the platoon leader is getting less and less of an idea what's actually going on. It seems like, which is a definite shame. And we just see Swiffy building up more and more force, again attacking from more and more angles, pushing Platoon Leader and the 25th Panzer Grenadier Division further back. Again, Platoon Leader needs to rather get things together and learn how to defend and hold. And Swiffy, of course, relying on brute force, could, in essence, with a few good tactics, actually suffer much greater losses. Grenadiers advancing in again. Don't do that. Don't move too close to Ruffin with BARs like that. Not unless you've got MP forces. More LMGs being equipped, but we see a Grenadier squad going down. Quite wasteful. Quite wasteful indeed. Needler going down as Swiffy now is the one blobbing up, making himself an absolutely insane target for the Niederwerfer. It's just a slaughter. First Niederwerfer barrage. 12 men dead. That really ought to be a warning sign that Swiffy might be having his men a bit too close to each other. It's a battlefield, not a sauna. You're not here for bonding, you're here for killing the enemy. In that sense, I mean, Platoonleader definitely got a break, but again, he needs to consider again unit disposition and all that. But the Needle was definitely a nice touch to support his troops, and lots of LMGs now, which could... I mean, when it gets to LMGs, actually, so again, there's the sort of effect you get like when you get more of the full gunners close to each other with a Sturmgewehr leader. It just sort of does something. Suddenly it becomes a lot more lethal. Simply because you can get off a larger volume of lead. And finally some barbed wire. God im Himmel, I mean, he seems to be learning awfully slow. I mean, again, there's some good ideas, some good moves, but again, he knows how to attack, but he seems utterly oblivious at it when it comes to holding territory and defending. Just against an attack, and again, you know, those are also things you need to work out. Again, barbed wire here and barbed wire here would also make it much harder for Swiffy to just, again, rush in, and now Swiffy also seems to be ending up and just blobbing up, which again is why I'm saying this is a bit more of an average game. There's some good ideas, but tactically, there's a lot, you know, long after. There's definitely some things that need to be worked on severely. And there you go, tank, so just crushes some poor bastard. Looks like the Pioneer suffered. Grenadier squad for some reason just left alone in the barn with nothing to support, meaning they're going to be an easy target. Rangers pushing in. Will there be a counterattack coming in from Platoonleader? He definitely needs to bloody well get his feet moving. Support his Grenadiers held up in the old empty barn. Otherwise they're going to become part of a ghost story they'll have in front about the German soldiers who were massacred in it because Platoonleader couldn't get his fat ass moving. Need for firing, but I'm not entirely sure it can actually support them. Might be, maybe, or will. No, it could. But we do see again that Swiffy just moves a bit further away. But again, I mean, against the blob, and Needleweaver can... Oh, it actually killed someone. Impressive. Though it might have been... Yeah, it looked like it was Heinz that actually went down. Yeah, we'll just cross this up as an American. No one will never know. Grenadiers again. Here's again a thing to know about Grenadiers when moving the LMGs again. Don't move them up bloody close. Keep them about medium to long range. They're a longer range weapon. And again, blobbing up into course Swiffy then calling in his own artillery. In this case, it's working off. But again, you know, blob versus blob. Just this blob has an awful lot of LMGs. Question is, who will be the more resilient, the more evil? Looks like the Rangers are getting shredded. Looks like a Grenadier Ranger squad could go down to the light machine guns and the MP40s. Ranger squad actually going down. The LMGs are actually tearing through Swiffy's troops. And that actually happens when you get that many MGs. All of a sudden, it actually becomes lethal for your opponent to be anywhere nearby, because then it's just, you know, a huge volume of lead raining down. And I think the Grenadiers are being suppressed slowly. I think it's some suppressive fire going in there from Swiffy, but it's only suppressing a few. And there we go, grenade going off on the Rangers. Ranger squad could also go down, or will. Looks like the Grenadiers are forgetting about him. And Stu 42 gets another unit. By the looks of it, Swiffy's taking huge infantry losses. And we've got the last few here. Swiffy's forgotten to move them. Now they have to retreat past through this wall of machine gun fire. Veteran C3 Rifleman squad down. Rangers down, but again, he's blobbing up like, my God. Again, that's definitely something both players need to work on. Again, better spread, better usage of cover, and all that. Anti-tank gun looks to be going down. Bit of a shame, 242 getting repaired as well. No veterancy for that, by the way. No veterancy for the Needlewerfer. I want to get a bit closer up there. But again, all victory points now currently in the hands of Earl Swiffador. But let's return to Platoonleader, who just managed himself quite a nice little victory. Gutting a lot of Americans, probably largely thanks to those MGs just suddenly tearing through a lot of American flesh. Tiger arrives, the Tiger is here, but no veterancy for it again. Always get armor veterancy, always. .30 caliber rifle moving in. Looks like the Germans have retreated again, leaving this area open. It seems like, again, Platoonleader doesn't seem to learn from what Swiffy does. I mean, to sort of detect a pattern. These Grenadiers definitely need to retreat, though. Not entirely sure what he's intending to do with that Tiger tank. Apparently he's just waiting for the Grenadiers to get a Panzerschreck. Oh, he just blows up the Kriegbergs, deciding he doesn't need any more. And there we go. Looks like artillery's going in on the blob. He needs to move it. Move it. Oh, dear. And there we go. Threatening to lose a lot of Grenadiers. And there we go. Largely a full retreat. Oh, he lost the Grenadier squad with an MG. Oh, platoon leader. Why do you have to be so wasteful? We do see the tank destroyer going down, but platoon leader is now definitely being slowly drained of men. Tiger pushes up. Where's the supporting infantry? Nowhere to be seen. Stu 42 moving up. Still no veterancy for his armor. We see a 30 caliber positioned here to protect the western victory point. Good move there by Swiffy. Bunker down. And there we go. The pioneers are being met with a very, very nasty welcome party. Definitely no cake and lemonade there. And once more, platoon leader seemingly attacking the only way he knows, with the raw Soviet-style tactics.
Our forces are ready.
Advancing up here. And again, just volumes of machine gun fire coming in there from platoon leader's Grenadiers. There we go, more losses inflicted, some more bullets rain down. And a 30 caliber saves the day. Because again, as Grenadiers gain more veterancy, they also become easier to suppress, specifically veterancy 2, which gives them elite armor, which makes them harder to kill with bullets a bit, but it also makes them easier to suppress. It rather looks like the 20th Infantry Division now has the upper hand. Again, the basically way the platoon leader has conducted the fighting as things pass on is, well, rather crippling for him. I mean, it's not very cohesive. And in that sense, that's rather what Swiffy seems to be winning on, that is cohesion. Having a better idea of what to do. Mine going off, they're killing a few Grenadiers. And I suppose, I mean, had this been a smaller map, had this not been Beaux lowlands, there'd been a larger chance for platoon leaders for this strategy to actually work, because then you can also, you know, just focus all of these troops in a smaller territory. But the thing about Beaux lowlands is it does require stronger strategic gaps, because again, you then know to figure out how to hold all this territory, how to defend it, how to disposition reserves and all that, and then get against somewhat some players can have a problem with. Again, MG stuff firing and forcing Swiffy to retreat all of his troops. Post haste. Going against that mortar here. Pioneers taking points there. We're getting counterattacked by enemy engineers. We're seeing a large force moving in from Swiffy. Tiger nowhere to be seen supporting. Again, the force disposition from platoon leader is a bit deplorable. And there's still no veteran here. We do see tank destroyers rolling in. I would suggest the Grenadiers get into the building, into the barn to fire down supportive rounds in front of their infantry. Come on, platoon leader. Pay attention, schnell, schnell. There you go, shot connects with the tank destroyer, but being a bit too late. Tiger also moving in, but might be a bit too late. We might see the Grenadiers inside the building, yes indeed, go down. Swift shot from the armoured car, and heavy needle of barrage there. We might see the Grenadiers go down, another squad of infantry lost right there for platoon leader and the 25th Panzer Grenadier Division. And that could also have been a 30 caliber, could have been used by the Germans in holding back the Americans, but sadly not. Tiger though arrives, anti-tank are getting blasted, and we see artillery getting called in. Blitzkrieg going in as well in response. Grenadier squad here needs to retreat though, down to one man. But no firing away. And then running away slightly. Tiger with a damaged engine, not really very tactically sound handling of it. Only rifleman left. A lot of manpower being floated. And a Grenadier squad again wasted right there by Platoonleader. Desperation seems to be palpable as his strategy crumbles like a poorly made cookie. Yo, what up? And game over. Lost right there for Platoonleader again. Not perhaps the most highest caliber game. I'm a bit lacking in those, at least ones that are interesting. But I thought again this had some points to actually make some valid points. And so I figured, you know, why the hell not? People are here to learn stuff as well. Plus, of course, some aggressive use of the LMG, which again actually did something. And again, sometimes you just need sufficient numbers. But again, the overall problem, the overall overarching theme for Platoonleader was he was pretty daft when it actually came to, you know, formulating a strategy that was beyond, you know, just hoarding up. So again, I mean, he had some good ideas, you know, how to use, you know, veterancy, some abilities, cover and all that. But again, there was a lot of other details which just weren't there. Mining and again, just holding, you know, choosing where to defend. He could have done so much better had he chosen here to defend. For that matter here. But again, it was just utterly lacking in that sense, you know. Swiffy just took advantage, kept running around, kept harassing, kept killing. And of course, Swiffy made a few bad decisions, like for example that one huge engagement right there. We just lost so much to those machine guns, but overall, I mean, he performed better. And so in that sense, again, Platoonleader needs to get a grip of himself and again, you know, figure out how he wants to defend. And again, he might have just gotten, you know, lazy of playing on smaller maps, in which case this strategy might be more likely to work. But again, no guarantees. And he might also again want to use his storm army a bit more with some armored cars to help, you know, support against all that infantry movement. But again, it never quite happened. And basically, you know, again, he just kept, you know, holding back and then attacking, you know, again, trying to hold up and then sending reinforcements in to hold that defense. But meditations, mimic bunkers, all that. There you go. Hope you enjoyed this match, at least a little bit. If you did, want to subscribe, tell your friends. If you didn't, well, why not send a replay beyond, provide some feedback. This is Imperial Dane saying cheers.